Everyone's dragging Beyond the Gates for bad writing, but this week proved the show might actually be smarter than its audience. This week's Beyond the Gates offered its usual blend of chaos, questionable choices, and surprisingly grounded storytelling. Between hair transformations, collapsing relationships, and the ongoing saga of who's fooling whom, it's safe to say the writers are earning every ounce of audience whiplash. Let's begin with the obvious: the hair. Naomi and Chelsea continue to deliver visual freshness, but HAYLEY's vertical ambitions seem to have reached new heights, literally. At this point, her weave has its own gravitational pull. No one is demanding she pull a June and go full big chop minimalist, but surely a bob, perhaps something like Nicole's, would restore balance to the skyline. And speaking of imbalance, Bill's facade of cluelessness is wearing thin. The man may play dumb, but it's the kind of dumb that sees everything. His patience with HAYLEY's unraveling schemes feels less like oblivion and more like quiet preparation for her downfall. And when it comes, her entire house of cards, built on a name that isn't even hers, will tumble spectacularly. Then there's Naomi and Jacob, easily the most polarizing pair on the show right now. Viewers either find their storyline tedious or refreshingly real. In truth, it's one of the few plots that dares to engage with adult realities. Naomi loves Jacob but doesn't want children, a stance often treated as treason on television. The writing wisely avoids melodrama, instead exploring the honest tension between love and incompatible life goals. Their conversations feel authentic, even brave. And imagine this: women not wanting children isn't a tragedy, it's autonomy. The same applies to men who do, or don't. The writers deserve applause for tackling the subject without apology. Meanwhile, Dana waits for her next deposit, only to discover that the rainbow she's chasing has no gold, just more gray clouds. Samantha, on the other hand, is entering the teenage rebellion phase with gusto, clinging to June while hormones dictate the rest. And then there's Vanessa, whose name now sounds as swollen as her storyline. She continues to irritate every metaphorical vein available, which is to say the actress is doing her job brilliantly. Still, the character has descended from schemer to outright gutter dweller, manipulating her son, cozying up to Joey, and perhaps sniffing around Doug's death like a self-serving bloodhound. Vanessa has traded maternal instinct for Machiavellian thirst. If the writers intended her to evoke sympathy, they missed the mark. True gangsta women, as the archetype goes, operate with public respect and private discretion. Vanessa, however, parades her chaos in full daylight. The only thing she protects less than her dignity is her child. In short, Beyond the Gates continues to live up to its name. It exists just beyond reason, restraint, and occasionally good taste. But that's precisely what makes it unmissable. Everyone's busy arguing over who ends up with who. But the real story isn't romance. It's the Hawthorne family quietly falling apart. In his first week on screen, Isaiah Hawthorne has managed to say almost nothing, and yet, somehow, everything. 2 lines in, and the man has already ignited more intrigue than the show's entire romantic triangle. His family dynamic alone feels like the real story, outshining the tired "will Kat or Eva end up with him" question. "I gotcha, you," he tells Naomi, pointed, intimate, almost accusatory. Then, with surgical condescension, he tosses to Jacob. "Can't expect you boys in blue to do everything. Somebody's got to catch what you can't hold down." The subtext isn't subtle. A cocktail of disdain, rivalry, and that specific brand of sibling contempt that can only come from years of inherited tension. Jacob's affection for his brother is apparent. Isaiah's is not. Naomi, meanwhile, stumbles through her own haze, too drunk to articulate, too self-aware to ignore the undercurrents. Her reaction to Isaiah's presence is telling. Confusion mixed with avoidance. If she truly didn't recognize her brother-in-law, that implies a long and deliberate absence. His comment about not following his father's wishes confirms it. He's been gone, likely out of state, likely rebelling against a family that tried to script his life. Isaiah's rejection of the family's law enforcement tradition reeks of resentment, the kind that festers in families obsessed with appearances and respectable careers. His smile, the delayed one reserved for Naomi, not Jacob, only deepens the mystery. Was it direction meant to stir tension, or a glimpse of something deeper? Speculation runs rampant. Some suspect a complicated family tree, different mothers, different upbringings, different loyalties. Others note the faint edge beneath Isaiah's clean-cut exterior. A hint of naughtiness, of something unsaid. The show can't possibly allow both Hawthorne brothers to be wholesome. That would be a waste of potential chaos. As for Naomi, her marriage is collapsing in slow motion. She's spiraling, drinking, grieving the inevitable end. Whatever her recovery looks like, it's unlikely to involve her husband's brother, though her drunken slip of "you" suggests a spark, or at least a recognition of forbidden tension. Whether that's narrative misdirection or the start of something uncomfortably Freudian remains to be seen. And then there's Elon, handsome, possibly promiscuous, and definitely too comfortable on that couch with Anita. The Hawthorne orbit seems to attract the morally gray and the beautifully conflicted. Between Elon's charm and Isaiah's enigmatic glare, the show's quiet men are carrying the intrigue while its loudest characters unravel. Ultimately, the mystery isn't who ends up with whom, it's what exactly Isaiah is hiding. His civility feels like camouflage. His career pivot to something as mild as college counseling feels deliberate, almost penitential. The man gives the impression of someone running from both authority and expectation, yet perfectly aware of the effect he has on everyone in the room. If early impressions hold, the Hawthornes may have just found their most compelling complication yet. Don't be fooled by the mansion. These teens might be the dumbest smart kids on TV. Few spectacles are more exasperating than watching teenagers believe they've cracked adulthood while simultaneously proving they haven't. Samantha Dupri, for instance, continues to operate under the delusion that Nathan, whose interest in her miraculously awakens whenever her last name is mentioned, is motivated by anything other than family money. The selective attention should be obvious, yet she interprets his Instagram engagement as affection rather than opportunism. One almost wants to hand her a mirror and a financial statement and say, "Connect the dots." Samantha and her brother Tyrell are the tragicomedy of contrasts, children who escaped chaos only to be trapped under glass. Their early years forged in hardship, their current ones smothered by overprotection, they've somehow managed to inherit the worst of both worlds. No practical street sense, no emotional restraint, and no idea how to exist anywhere between survival and suffocation. Tyrell's misguided decision to play chess in the park at night and then invite home a stranger, who happened to be a racist, remains a masterclass in poor judgment. Yet it's hard to decide which is worse, his obliviousness or Samantha's. At least Tyrell's recklessness feels naive. Samantha's is practically willful. Watching her drape herself over Nathan on her parents' couch, tank tops, hormones, and all, isn't rebellious. It's absurd. The audacity to conduct a makeshift soap opera in Martin and Smitty's living room defies belief. The show's whiplash writing doesn't help. One day, these teens are paragons of maturity. The next, they're one impulsive decision away from a Lifetime special. The inconsistency might be forgivable if it weren't so jarring. Street smart one episode, social media-addled fools the next. It's as if the writers can't decide whether they're crafting young adults or particularly articulate toddlers. Meanwhile, Nathan, the human red flag, continues his performance with the precision of someone who's read a manual on exploiting insecurities. Samantha's craving for validation through likes and follows only feeds his game. Her dopamine-chasing attachment to social media serves as a convenient metaphor for the show itself, addictive, shallow, and destined to crash. Then there's June, perpetually positioned as the scapegoat for everyone else's disasters. The audience can already sense it coming. Samantha's inevitable fallout, Tyrell's misplaced trust, Nathan's manipulations, and June will shoulder the blame for all of it. The sad irony is that both Dupri siblings should, by all logic, possess some instinct for self-preservation. Having survived chaos, they ought to recognize danger when it smiles. Instead, they've traded one brand of dysfunction for another. ignorance wrapped in privilege. And while their actors do what they can, even a 30-year-old cast as a teenager can't sell naivety this dense. In short, the Dupri's storyline is a cautionary tale about how not to grow up, proof that money can buy therapy and a mansion, but not an ounce of common sense. Naomi didn't just get a makeover, she got a full-blown personality transplant. And fans are furious about it. It appears Naomi didn't just get a new haircut, she got a full-blown personality transplant. Once the rational, steady professional with a plan for every contingency, she's now parading through her marriage like a walking crisis. The formally composed attorney has devolved into an emotionally volatile caricature, snapping at her husband, making impulsive decisions, and apparently auditioning for messiest woman alive. Her newfound liberation seems to involve being aggressively passive-aggressive toward her husband, Jacob, while flirting with the idea of sleeping with someone else. Because, of course, nothing screams mature communication like random sex and unresolved marital resentment. Beneath the chaos, though, there's a clear through line. Naomi is spiraling because the one stable pillar of her life, her marriage, is crumbling. She sees Jacob's wavering stance on children as a betrayal of the pact they built their lives on. To her, this isn't just a disagreement about family planning. It's the collapse of her identity as a child-free woman who believed she'd found her match. Jacob's sudden, let's think about it, see, attitude toward parenthood is tone-deaf at best and cruel at worst. When a man tells his child-free wife that an accidental pregnancy could work out, what he's really saying is, your boundaries are negotiable. It's the emotional equivalent of setting fire to trust and handing her the matches. Naomi's fury, though exaggerated, isn't irrational. It's the reaction of a woman realizing that her life's foundation was built on quicksand. Her husband didn't actually share her values, he merely mirrored them until the moment they became inconvenient. Now, she's left grappling with the fallout while everyone around her mistakes her panic for petulance. But let's be honest, this is a crisis years in the making. Both Naomi and Jacob gambled that the other would change their mind about children. Neither did. Instead of having the definitive conversation before marriage, they chose mutual delusion. Now she's lashing out, and he's retreating into the haze of gray areas that don't exist when it comes to parenthood. You can't have half a baby, and no amount of therapy will turn "I want kids" and "I absolutely don't" into compatible life goals. Naomi's current behavior, irrational, self-sabotaging, and emotionally reckless, feels like the inevitable combustion of a woman who's run out of scripts. She's always managed her life through control and calculation. But when faced with raw emotional chaos, she doesn't cope, she combusts. It doesn't help that the show's writers seem as confused as Naomi. Once a formidable attorney ready to take on her father in court, she's now been reduced to a supporting player in other people's storylines, a prop to prop up less compelling characters. Instead of giving her a nuanced emotional arc, they've opted for a whiplash-inducing transformation from professional powerhouse to soap opera meltdown. If the goal was to make her unlikable, mission accomplished. But the tragedy is that beneath all the erratic behavior lies a deeply relatable fear that the person you trusted most has quietly rewritten the rules of your shared life. Naomi's implosion may be ugly, but it's at least honest. Her husband may still be musing about shades of gray, but Naomi has seen the truth in black and white, and she knows there's no coming back from it. Never mistake the Dupri family's love for support. It's surveillance with better tableware. The Dupri family has perfected the art of intrusion. They operate less like a family and more like a corporate board that insists on holding emergency meetings over hangnails. No one within their ranks appears capable of distinguishing being supportive from being suffocating, and the result is a clan so deeply entangled in one another's business that personal space seems almost mythical. This pattern didn't emerge by accident. Vernon and Anita clearly built the family culture on a foundation of codependence and control, ensuring that every generation that followed would uphold the proud Dupri tradition of unsolicited involvement. Anita, Nicole, Kat, and Naomi stand at the forefront of this legacy. 4 women who treat private issues as community property. Naomi once summed it up perfectly. "We have a family meeting if one of us even gets a hangnail." She wasn't exaggerating. She was confessing. The result is predictably exhausting. If one Dupri faces conflict, the entire family mobilizes like a moral militia, lecturing, judging, and ultimately achieving nothing. They swarm around every crisis with the self-importance of people who mistake interference for leadership, and when their interventions inevitably fail, they retreat to brunch, chanting the family mantra, "You're a Dupri, get over it." Nowhere was this dysfunction clearer than in their outrage over Danny and Andre's marriage. The Dupris behaved as if the union were a national emergency rather than two adults making their own choices. Anita, Nicole, and Vernon's condescension toward Danny, an impulsive woman, yes, but a grown one, was overblown and paternalistic. Danny has adult children, yet her family still treats her like a rebellious teenager caught sneaking out. To be fair, some disgust toward the relationship is understandable. The connection through marriage makes the situation murky at best and distasteful at worst. But by the time the Dupris had staged their 50th intervention, any moral high ground they once held had evaporated. The couple wasn't listening, and frankly, they shouldn't have to. At some point, family concern becomes obsession disguised as virtue. Beyond their internal melodrama, the Dupris carry a whiff of privilege that could intoxicate an entire town. Their Fairmont status has bred an entitlement that borders on parody, wielding their surname like a VIP pass that's supposed to grant them instant obedience. The irony, of course, is that their influence stops cold the moment they encounter someone like Leslie, who simply doesn't care. In any realistic setting, their reputation would open doors. In this one, it's merely a plot contrivance meant to remind them that the world outside their gates isn't impressed. Even their friends and associates aren't immune to this contagious meddling. Kat attempting to dictate Shanice's love life, Chelsea breaking up her own relationship to fix Madison's. Each moment reinforces the Dupri ethos. Other people's boundaries are optional, and inevitably, those choices backfire, leaving broken relationships and strained friendships in their wake. At the end of the day, the Dupris are less a family than a case study in performative closeness, loud, self-righteous, and allergic to restraint. They are the Fairmont equivalent of soap opera royalty. Their dysfunction not a flaw, but a defining feature. Because in the world of the Dupris, privacy is overrated, drama is hereditary, and meddling is practically a family crest. Never trust a woman who looks at her brother-in-law like that, especially not on Beyond the Gates. If there's one thing Beyond the Gates excels at, it's making its characters flirt with ruin while pretending they're searching for meaning. The latest speculation swirling around Isaiah, Naomi, and the ever-patient Jacob suggests we're headed straight into that deliciously chaotic soap opera territory, one where morality takes a back seat to smoldering glances and poor impulse control. Naomi, perpetually miserable in her marriage and perpetually unaware of her own hypocrisy, appears to be circling her brother-in-law like a moth to a morally dubious flame. The alleged look between Naomi and Isaiah, an almost cinematic exchange of recognition and regret, was less family reunion and more forbidden nostalgia. Her slurred "you," rather than his actual name, did not go unnoticed. It's the kind of slip that sets off alarm bells in both viewers and gossip-prone relatives. Meanwhile, poor Jacob is left as the embodiment of every soap husband doomed to be betrayed in slow motion. Naomi's recent behavior, detached, irritable, and inexplicably cruel, suggests she may be convincing herself that Isaiah represents the passion she's missing. The irony, of course, is that her husband's only crime is being stable. Stability, in Naomi's world, is apparently the ultimate sin. Then there's Eva, caught once again in her trademark role as the third. She's practically a plot device at this point, a walking obstacle designed to suffer beautifully while everyone else implodes. Should the writers decide to make her part of this potential quadrangle, it would be entirely on brand for a series that already turned sibling rivalry into an art form. Zeke, meanwhile, seems poised to play the tragic voyeur. His longing looks toward Naomi weren't exactly subtle. One could almost hear the internal monologue. That should have been me." And when Naomi drunkenly turned into his arms, her reaction carried a sensuality and surrender that her husband has likely never seen. Whether intentional or not, it was a moment that screamed unfinished business. As for Kat, affectionately dubbed Catlock, she's waiting in the wings, possibly for Jacob's inevitable spiral into infidelity. Because in this universe, every emotional disaster is quickly followed by someone else's bed. If the speculation holds true, we're headed toward a beautifully messy narrative of brothers at odds, wives adrift, and bystanders catching emotional shrapnel. Whether Naomi's attraction to Isaiah is genuine longing or just rebellion in designer heels remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, she's fast becoming the least sympathetic woman on the show, half heartbroken, half homewrecker, and fully unlikable. And yet, despite the chaos, or perhaps because of it, it's impossible to look away. After all, nothing says beyond the gate tease like turning a family gathering into a potential scandal. Stop calling Danny and Bill a power couple. They're a cautionary tale with a wedding license. In the ever-revolving door of soap opera love triangles, Operation Kill Bill stands out not for its originality, but for its sheer audacity to pretend it has any. The plot is a barely disguised vehicle to reunite Danny and Bill, again, and it reeks of the writer's favorite pastime, reanimating dead relationships and calling it chemistry. The setup is textbook lazy. Dirt on Andre conveniently surfaces, Bill finds himself in peril, Danny rushes to save him, and voila! One dramatic catfight with HAYLEY later, the prodigal lovers are back in each other's arms. The audience is expected to swoon. Instead, many are choking on déjà vu. Bill isn't dying, Danny isn't growing, and the show isn't moving forward. It's as if the creative team collectively decided that women forgiving serial cheaters is still gripping television. Bill, the perennial self-saboteur, has done nothing to earn redemption. He cheated, humiliated Danny, married her rival, and moved said rival into her home, only to cheat on that woman as well. Yet we're supposed to believe Danny's love for him makes her a romantic heroine rather than a doormat with impulse control issues. Her return to him would signal not passion, but regression, a relapse into the toxic codependency that defines them both. He thrives on power and corruption. She confuses masochism for devotion. It's less love story and more psychological case study. Andre, meanwhile, is painted as mysterious, simply because he refuses to be photographed. Hardly the most compelling form of intrigue. Still, his quiet demeanor and moral grayness offer a refreshing contrast to Bill's cartoonish selfishness. Even if Andre turns out to be an actual criminal, he'd still be preferable to the man who's committed emotional manslaughter on Danny for years. Of course, this is a soap, which means logic is optional and emotional whiplash is part of the subscription. Fans draw comparisons to infamous couples like Victor and Nikki or Brooke and Ridge, pairs who have spent decades proving that dysfunction sells. The problem is, Danny and Bill's dysfunction has none of the campy glamour of those power duos. It's just bleak. Every reunion dulls Danny's shine, turning a once vibrant character into a cautionary tale in couture. Some viewers defend the writers, insisting that hate is too strong a word for people just doing their job. Fair enough, but there's a difference between crafting conflict and recycling misery. A storyline designed solely to reignite an overcooked pairing isn't drama, it's narrative necromancy. Others cling to the faint hope that the show will surprise everyone and actually kill Bill. An unlikely but undeniably satisfying twist. For now, the outcome seems inevitable. Danny will save Bill, justify the unjustifiable, and call it love. The writers will pat themselves on the back for full-circle storytelling, and the rest of us will sit through yet another cycle of tears, betrayals, and champagne-flinging déjà vu, wondering when the show will realize that the only thing worth killing in Operation Kill Bill is the storyline itself. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Monday, October 27th, hint that Leslie Thomas will make an unsettling proposal to someone, while June and Samantha Richardson will be at odds. This is weird, because the two have been bonding up a storm lately. In fact, June encouraged Samantha to let her sparkle shine on social media, which caught the attention of her romantic interest, Nathan. Samantha was overjoyed at Nathan reaching out after June's advice. So why will the teen be upset at her bio mom? Across town, Catherine Cat Richardson will give Isaiah Hawthorne an earful. While Isaiah is new to BTG fans, he is Jacob Hawthorne's younger brother, so this likely won't be their first meeting. Will Cat find out about Isaiah's flirty encounter with her sister Eva Thomas? She may issue a warning to stay far away, but it doesn't sound like he'll heed her advice. Meanwhile, Beyond the Gates spoilers for the October 27th episode imply that Danny Dupri will encourage Nicole Richardson to make a bold move. From the looks of the BTG preview for this week, this might be about Carlton Fitzgerald. Nicole has been flirting with Ted Richardson's friend and business partner, but they haven't done that much more. Will Danny give Nicole the boost in confidence she needs to cross a line with her hot new love interest? Only time will tell. Finally, Leslie will present an unsettling offer to HAYLEY Hamilton. Leslie already suggested the two form an alliance some weeks back, but HAYLEY fluffed it off. BTG fans know that HAYLEY chomping at the bit to offer hubby, Bill Hamilton. HAYLEY is looking to score that sweet $10 million life insurance policy, and she's getting some help from her cousin and co-conspirator, Randy Parker, to slowly poison her husband. With that said, HAYLEY and Randy have been close to getting caught, so could the two be talking about their plan, only for Leslie to overhear, as she lurks in the shadows somewhere? Beyond the Gates spoilers imply that Leslie may even blackmail HAYLEY into helping her ruin the Dupris and get Ted back, so it'll be interesting to see what goes down during the October 27th episode between these two. Beyond the Gates spoilers for the week of October 27 to 31 indicate things will get mighty awkward when Bradley Smitty Smith and Martin Richardson catch Samantha Richardson Smith making out with her boyfriend Nathan. Plus, Ted Richardson threatens Carlton Fitzgerald. The CBS soap just released its promo video for the next 5 days, and it'll be another explosive week in Fairmont Crest. The BTG video opens with HAYLEY Hamilton and Leslie Thomas at the Fairmont Crest Country Club. While the two ladies are dining at different tables, Leslie calls out to HAYLEY from across the way, stating, "Imagine what we could accomplish if we pooled our resources." HAYLEY is scrolling through a tablet and looks annoyed at the very thought of it all. Still, HAYLEY almost got caught twice during the week of October 2024, as it relates to her plan to get rid of her husband, Bill Hamilton. Is there a chance that Leslie overhears a conversation that HAYLEY has with her co-conspirator and cousin, Randy Parker? Is that why Leslie is suggesting an alliance? Across town at Uptown, Isaiah Hawthorne and Eva Thomas are picking up where they left off from their last encounter. Eva suggests to the newcomer that if he's looking to hang out with someone until we both figure things out, that she'd be down for that. Isaiah happily replies, "Sounds like a plan." Jacob Hawthorne's little brother had quite their flirty exchange with Eva this past week, so will they take things to the next level? Speaking of relationships moving forward, as the BTG promo progresses, Catherine Cat Richardson is also at Uptown with Chelsea Hamilton. Kat's telling her cousin and bestie about her bedroom escapades with Tomas Navarro. As Kat goes on and on, Samantha can be seen from across the establishment, listening in, unbeknownst to the two ladies. Samantha's shocked by what she's hearing, and as the scenes in the preview video shift, the next one lands on a clip of Samantha kissing her new boyfriend on the couch. Things are getting pretty hot and heavy until Smitty and Martin walk in. Samantha's dad is outraged as he screams, "Samantha Richardson Smith!" Nathan jumps off Samantha quickly. As the Beyond the Gates promo for the week of October 27 to 31 wraps up, Danny Dupri and Nicole Richardson are at the country club. Danny tells her sissy, "You are too nice. Ted is giving you the ultimate hall pass to do whatever you want, with whomever you desire." Meanwhile, Nicole gives her sister a smug look. The final scene is of Nicole between Ted and Carlton at the hospital as her estranged husband and new boyfriend exchange words. Ted notes that he knew Carlton had a crush on his wife all along. Meanwhile, Carlton replies with, "Truth hurts." This riles up Ted enough to get in Carlton's face and tell his business partner, "Not as much as my fist will hurt as it goes upside your head. Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest the week of October 27th to 31st will have plenty of interesting moments, mixed in with some romance, and as always, a ton of drama. Excited as Ridge is about a collaboration between Forrester Creations and Danny, she has to reject his offer. Why? Forrester wants to capitalize on her new marriage, but Andre is still refusing to take part. Off her call to Ridge, the model crashes Joey's quiet breakfast to demand he back off his situationship with Vanessa. They take turns trash-talking each other's relationships, with him betting $10K that her marriage won't last a year. Vanessa, fresh from having convinced Donnell to go back to school and help his twin sister grieve, interrupts Danny and Joey's conversation. Now that Donnell's gone, she's ready to go full force on becoming Joey's partner. A woman who would send her own son packing because he's in the way can only be called formidable, he admits. She invites him to spend the night at her house, but they will be in the guest suite. Taking a lover into the bed she shared with Doug is a line she's not yet ready to cross. As Derek is fantasizing about telling Ashley the secret he's been keeping, she's having an awkward-as-usual cross with Andre. Later, Derek and Ashley join besties Jacob and Naomi at Uptown, where both couples try and cover the fact they aren't in great spots. As they're talking, Isaiah, the sexy newcomer Eva met earlier this week, is watching. Naomi gets a bit sloppy, making more than a few cutting remarks. Speaking about Ashley and Derek's upcoming wedding, she says that if they later realize they have a relationship-killing difference, it'll be too late. Excusing herself to use the restroom, she almost falls, but is caught by Isaiah, who turns out to be Jacob's brother. At the country club, Madison goes off after receiving a text from her mom, Willow. It turns out Willow is very into New Age things like crystals and moon water, and it's a major issue between them. Despite Madison making it clear she's not a huge fan of social media and its influence, Chelsea asks her followers for advice on the mother-or-daughter conflict. Despite the majority saying she should butt out, Chelsea seems determined to help heal Madison and her mom reconnect. Off her conversation with Joey, Danny heads home to tell Andre she told Ridge they wouldn't be modeling. They talk about respecting one another and the fact that the world thought they wouldn't last a week. Yet here they are, she jokes. On week 2, Beyond the Gates spoilers indicate that the soap just released its preview for the week of October 27-31st, and there are some massive bombshells ahead. What's set to unravel? Read more below. The Beyond the Gates promo video for the week of October 27-31 opens with Leslie Thomas and HAYLEY Hamilton at the Fairmont Crest Country Club. They are at different tables, as Leslie is telling Bill Hamilton's wife that, "Imagine what we could accomplish if we pooled our resources." HAYLEY is looking at a tablet and almost rolls her eyes at the suggestion. However, has Leslie overheard a conversation that she shouldn't? HAYLEY has been a bit sloppy with her scheming lately. Does Leslie know that HAYLEY's looking to off her husband? As the BTG promo progresses, the next scene is one with Isaiah Hawthorne and Eva Thomas at Uptown. Eva tells Jacob Hawthorne's little brother that if he's looking to hang out with someone until we both figure things out, that she'd be down for that. He replies with a smile, "Sounds like a plan." Looks like it won't take long for these two to hook up. Meanwhile, Samantha Richardson will get some sizzling ideas from her cousin, Catherine "Cat" Richardson. In the preview video, Cat is shown at Uptown talking about her steamy encounters with Tomas Navarro to Chelsea Hamilton. Unbeknownst to them, Samantha is listening in with a wide-eyed grin. As the scenes in the promo shift, Samantha is then shown on the couch, getting hot and heavy with Nathan. Of course, as the two are making out, Samantha's two dads walk in, as Bradley Smitty Smith yells, "Samantha Richardson Smith!" As the Beyond the Gates preview winds down, Danny Dupri is at the Fairmont Crest Country Club with her sissy, Nicole Richardson. Danny notes, "You are too nice. Ted is giving you the ultimate hall pass to do whatever you want, with whomever you desire." Nicole looks on with a smirk on her face. As the final clip unfolds, Nicole is at the hospital with Ted and Carlton Fitzgerald. Ted tells Carlton that he always knew that he had a crush on his wife, as Carlton shrugs and says, "Truth hurts." This is when Ted exclaims, "Not as much as my fist will hurt as it goes upside your head," as he barrels toward his ex-best friend and business partner. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Monday, October 27th, reveal some interesting moments in Fairmont Crest. HAYLEY Hamilton is unsettled, while Isaiah Hawthorne and Catherine "Cat" Richardson have a chat, and Nicole Richardson contemplates making a bold move. Learn more about what's going to go down during Monday's show below. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Monday, October 27th, indicate that HAYLEY will be unsettled after an encounter with Leslie Thomas. Leslie will present an offer to align, but what will bring this all on? HAYLEY's been a bit sloppy when it comes to her scheme to off Bill Hamilton. So will Leslie overhear a conversation HAYLEY has with her cousin and co-conspirator, Randy Parker. Across town, Isaiah will chat with Kat, and it sounds like she'll give him an earful. As he is Jacob Hawthorne's little brother, this likely won't be their first meeting. Jacob is married to Naomi Hamilton, who is Kat's cousin, so there's a good chance they know each other from wedding festivities or Isaiah's past in Fairmont Crest. Will Kat warn him about Eva Thomas? Fans will have to tune in to find out. In other news, Beyond the Gates spoilers for Monday hint that Danny Dupri will push her sissy to make a bold move. Does this have to do with Carlton Fitzgerald? The two have been flirting and have gone out, but Danny may encourage her sister to cross a line. Still, will Nicole make a steamier move on her estranged husband's business partner? Finally, Samantha Richardson will be at odds with her bio-mom, June. The two have been getting along swimmingly, so what's behind this change in attitude from both June and Samantha? Next week on Beyond the Gates, it's Halloween, so expect plenty of tricks, treats, and threats. Let's just hope no blood is shed. Look for Leslie to make a stab at a new alliance, leaving HAYLEY unsettled, while she's rattled when she and Joey come face to face. Meanwhile, Joey focuses on his powerful and very secret alliance with Chief of Police Elon Hawthorne. Elon may not be happy with the sudden attention. Elon's son and Jacob's brother, Isaiah, has been back in town for 2 seconds and will already get an earful from Kat in the Monday spoilers. By Friday, the ghouls and goblins of the DMV get together for a big event that Anita throws. What is this twist that will help heal old wounds? Will this have to do with Barbara and her daughter Leslie? Here's the breakdown of what's coming up for the week of October 27 to 31, 2025. Ted and Carlton go to war. Chelsea and Kat's candid conversation causes someone close to them to enact an impulsive plan. The Beyond the Gates spoilers for Monday, October 27, 2025, reveal that HAYLEY is unsettled by Leslie's offer, which is ironic considering they couldn't be any more alike. HAYLEY is unsettled by Leslie's offer of an alliance. This is funny considering they're both cut from the same cloth. HAYLEY revealed herself to be a con woman who's after Bill's. BTG fans immediately jumped on the HAYLEY bandwagon after her big reveal. She wants to kill her husband so she can get access to his insurance money, a $10 million payout. Leslie is a woman who craves riches as well. She has manipulated people, including her own daughter, into doing what she wants. Because of this, she's known to be a master manipulator and dangerous schemer who goes to extremes. While HAYLEY is a schemer, she still follows the #1 rule that you should never trust a rival schemer. She knows that Leslie is offering an alliance for Leslie's own benefit. HAYLEY may fear that she could be used or betrayed by someone who has no qualms about turning against her. Danny pushes Nicole to make a bold move. Nicole realized that her marriage to Ted was doomed from the moment his secret was revealed. Meanwhile, Danny wants to take control of the situation now that her sister has achieved closure with her ex-husband. Danny is the first woman in the family to publicly divorce her husband after his infidelity. She's an impulsive woman who's been making bold moves lately. What is she about to encourage Nicole to do? Maybe she encourages her to retaliate against Leslie, which could cause more harm than good. Or maybe this is about Carlton, Ted's business partner, whom Nicole is relying on more and more. Samantha and June are at odds. June was revealed to be Samantha and Tyrell's biological mother. Find out what happened to June on BTG. Lately, they have been bonding at Orphe Jeans, where June works. When she's not busy, June has been serving up wise words to both Samantha and her brother. Samantha is having boy problems, and June is helping her with them. She's telling her to be herself, And she also advised her on which photos to post on her social media. Is that why Samantha and June are suddenly experiencing conflict? Did something go wrong between Samantha and the guy she likes at school? Meanwhile, Isaiah gets an earful from Kat. She's currently in an up-and-down relationship with Tomas, whom she can't seem to let go of. Isaiah may not want to hear the words that Kat has to say, especially if she issues him a warning to stay away from Eva. Obviously, she's going to fill in the blanks on her nemesis, and it's up to Jacob's brother to heed the warnings or ignore them.